Okay. So, Love, do you remember when we did a training? It was last quarter, right? On SEO. What was your feedback on the training? Because, and be frank, we can say it here.
It was helpful. It was productive because it was something I wanted to learn. Can I say the other part that is not?
No, of course. Now that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we know that sometimes when we're positioning training,
Okay.
we think it's valuable, but the people that are receiving it may not see it as valuable. So what was your feedback? Because after, we noticed that the engagement dropped.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So before the training came, we asked what we wanted to learn. It was like a huge course with sections. I said the part I wanted to learn, but we ended up learning everything, which was draining for me because there were things I already understood and there were things I didn't need to know because I felt it was not in my line of work. Yes.
Yeah, so this is why feedback on the career development is important. Okay? No, Love, just stay here. Stacey, I apologize. Just also stay because we're going to be talking a lot about what we do at B4B because we too, we're a startup. We too, we no get enough people. We too, we are trying to make sure we are motivated. We too, we are hiring. How do we choose how to hire? That's why I'm saying it's a real session, right? Let's be real with ourselves and let's be frank about some of the difficulties. Now, for some of you that think one of them is the GOAT, Ronaldo, how do you define talent? And the reason we use these two men is because they are very different in what you say is talent. Some of you say one is the god of soccer. It's a lie. Two, who is talented?
Like on the street, they say one is ability, the other one is abinibi, right?
Interesting.
So Messi is
natural ability.
everything about him supports like what he's doing. Like he has a low center of gravity, so he can maneuver balls. Like, do you get? Ronaldo, yes, started off with maybe a bit of talent, but you can see how he works hard, trains, stay like do you get?
But he doesn't have the ability. I'm very offended, but no.
No. So like
because if I put JJ now beside Messi, have you ever seen JJ?
JJ is pure talent.
Pure talent.
But why JJ is not well known is maybe PR, also because of the club.
Let's focus on his
talent. JJ at least can.
But his talent, so his natural ability. Is that what we call talent? You wanted to add to this? Anybody else that wants to support this?
Yeah, said a bit of my mind. I mean, naturally, Ronaldo is just a hard worker. Give it to him. He knows what to do. He wants to be better at every point in time. But for Messi have just been a lucky guy because not in as much as there's some sort of work. No, wait now. There's some sort of work that has gone into who he has become. However, there's a lot of support system. Just like you said now, there's a lot of support system that have made him what he is.
No. That's not what supported. I said it's natural, like his height, his physique, like he's gifted.
No. See,
so
exactly. How many of us are not understanding? It's okay if we don't understand.
Like Messi is talented, right?
So
Ronaldo is hardworking.
No. Ronaldo has talent. Let's not deny.
Yes, but when you're looking at
now for this, both of them are hard.
You can't live here, Sha.
No. Wait. No, because the reason we're feeling excited about it because some people feel you can't be a Messi fan and a Ronaldo fan at the same time. No, I'm not sure. Do you know why? Ronaldo doesn't care if he's talented or not, though he is talented. And he's a very strong leader. Did we watch what he did during the World Cup with his team? He didn't do a good job. World Cup, he didn't do a good job. Leading. Talent. So that's what we're saying. Talent is the ability to. Abi? Now, if you are hiring, do you want to hire somebody that needs to, again, it's not because I'm a Ronaldo fan, that's why I can do this with ease. When you're hiring, do you want to hire somebody that has the actual ability to perform? that can perform or has the ability to perform? Are you looking for talent when you're hiring? Are you looking for talent when you're hiring? Remember what we've said now is that Messi is talented, right? Naturally. No, come on now. When you see him kick some of those his goals now, the ball should go out. If you're a tennis fan, this argument is the same between Federer and Nadal. Federer is just pure talent. Sometimes when he hits a forehand, Shah is supposed to go out, it drops inside. It's the same thing with Messi. Some of those goals he scores, even you're like, how did Beckham bend it like Beckham? There's a reason we say that. Now, when you're hiring, are you looking for somebody that tells you, yes, I can convert, I can acquire 100 customers, this is how I'll do it? Or somebody that shows you they have the talent to learn it? It's a genuine, there's no right or wrong. Are you looking for somebody that can do it, or somebody that already knows how to do it, is a hard worker? What do you look for when you hire? Again, there's no right or wrong.
I think can I on the face and you hire.
What you need are people that can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Not people that say they show that they will be able to learn it. You may not have the time to now check for the talent. So maybe what you're doing is you're recruiting. You are not doing talent management. Huh? Abi? What else will determine whether you're hiring for somebody that knows how to do it or somebody that can do it? Talent or just recruitment? What other reasons?
The particular role also matters.
Very good. Because maybe the role is hardcore finance. Abi now, we're not looking for somebody that can creatively manage your community. Because maybe when you're looking at managing a community, what are you thinking of? Talents. Because you want ideas. You want somebody that can really show that ability to do something different. But finance, we don't want creativity, please, before you steal some of our money that we're making. So that's another thing. What else are we thinking of?
Can you say, like, stage of the like the goal, like what you want to try and achieve?
Yes, that's what he said. What stage are you at? Because sometimes maybe what you want to hire are just people that can get this thing off the ground, not somebody that can start thinking of ways to grow it. Can you see how you have to think when you're hiring? Please go ahead, sir.
So there's this one in my head as well. I don't know if I can call it proactiveness, right? Because it is one thing for somebody to say, or for somebody to know how to do something and be ready to do that thing.
Culture. So now you're looking for culture because maybe in your organization it's slow. So sometimes you're going to try and hire a proactive person when you know in your company things are slow. Maybe it's a consulting firm you only do 4 deals a year. You need somebody that takes their time. But can you see how hiring is not really based on the individual per se, but it's based on what you need? So I see it when people are trying to hire salespeople. They say, I want a salesperson that can smash targets. I'm like, yes, on one Voltron, you know? You're looking, yeah, but you don't even really define where your company is, what stage it's at, what role is needed, whether you need proactiveness, whether you're recruiting or whether you're hiring talent. Now, for a lot of us in startups, because we're not able to match salary with the way things are outside, do you get? You need, let's be honest, right? You are now looking for talent in a lot of cases. Do you know why? Because the potential to contribute significantly to an organization's success. So you're looking at current abilities. There's a way you hire talent that's different from how you hire other people. And I see it a lot of times. People say nobody wants to work in a startup. It isn't true. Most times, talented individuals need to work in a startup. So what we're going to talk about is how you legit hire talent. But I acknowledge that sometimes it's not talent you want to hire. Okay? So now, we're going to go to, let's go through this. Okay. Now, this word we're using, talent, is interchangeable. It could be recruiting. Let us share what is one thing you struggle with when you start hiring, when you're looking for people to hire. What is the one challenge you face?
The expectations of the job. So there's that, and there's also the one of when they come in, they've made it seem like they could do the job. Oh yeah, do it now. Then we're staring at each other. So
Yes, and in fact, to do the job, we're going to talk about how do you determine if somebody can do the job during hiring. What else? Nobody else has had any challenges when you're about to hire.
So culture fit.
It's a big one.
Yeah, you might not know if someone is culture fit or not during the, checking up their CVs and all of that. But at the point of interview, you just realize that this person most likely beats me up.
No, can you share? How did you know?
There's this energy that people just bring to the interview, and then the way they answer some of the questions, like not like I'm afraid, but you just know that this person is going to be very, very confrontational, and they might not be fit at that point in time. Yes.
Yeah. You wanted to say, share?
We hired a project manager early last year. He has a very good resume. But when he came to executing, he executed for a short time there, like maybe a month, and then just was not interested. You could tell from his behavior. So the challenge there is perception to the beautiful resume, but we cannot commit. Yeah.
So one of the challenges we face is actually AI in B4B. All of you have raised some of these points. And the problem we have is that resumes are fantastic these days, right? Everybody knows how to do an eye-catching resume. And sometimes we help companies recruit for other organizations. So there was a company, we helped recruit a salesperson. We weren't part of the entire process, but they brought me in just for the interview. When they brought me in for the interview, no, guys, it's story time. You like this story, pay attention. So, no, even me, I've not fully understood the story, Sha. So they brought me in for the interview, for the sales part. And when we're doing interview, we give you a task. So the person executed their task. It was so fantastic. But when he came on the call, and we couldn't really see. It was like data issues. He said, look, he has to keep his camera off. We said, no problem. There is no question I asked this guy couldn't answer. I asked him about value chain. I asked him about customer journey. I was so impressed. I gave him the highest scores. Then the first day of work, the customer called me. I said, Napa, it's like somebody else did that interview. I said, what are you talking about? So what he did is he got a friend. Do you believe this story? Because I find it very hard to believe. He got a friend. He got a friend that was highly skilled in sales to come and attend the task interview. That he said he had challenges. And then, no, but the camera was on for the other interviews. That's why they didn't see any problem with it. And then I was the person that I hadn't met him in the other interviews. Do you see what he did? So in the sales interview, it was like, because it was the link and everything, it was shocking. Now, there's another tool called Paraki AI. And Paraki AI helps you during a virtual interview to answer the questions. What they do is it's an AI like add-on you put on your Google Meet or Teams. Now, if I ask you a question, what do you say your strengths are? The AI would write it out, would type it out. So you will now respond. So we were on a call once that the girl was, she was typing in ChatGPT. Love, do you remember, and Stacey? And she was answering, you could hear it. So we said, let's just allow her. It sounds like ChatGPT answers. So this is a challenge we are facing now, because as a startup, I'm very happy with what LMMA did, because our vision is how you get people aligned and committed. Remember, we need to look for talent, people that feel they're changing the world. So when you go to companies like Paystack, and we did some work with Paystack for a few months, these employees, I've never seen a culture as strong as that in a startup. They believe that they are literally changing the world. Everybody there believes it. And in communication, they keep sharing it. They keep talking about it. And when you tell them, you may not be paid as high as another job, they're like, no, I love the culture here. I'm making a difference here. So these are the people we need to find. But there's a lot of AI. There's a lot of culture fit issues. Nowadays, Gen Z, forgive me, Gen Z will come and say, look, this job is not giving, I'm not vibing with it. All those kind of things, or they will come and be like, look, this will affect my mental health. I beg. So we are going to go through some of the things you need to think about. Now, who remembers this guy from the Olympics? He was a meme and a half. As in, for those of you that don't know, he was 51 years old. He won several awards. I think he won silver. And it was marksmanship. This guy didn't put anything on his ears. He literally shoot to kill. This is what he was doing. He was hitting it all the time. He was cold. That's all I can say. As a startup founder, you have to be cold when you are hiring. You shoot so you don't miss. And there are going to be some outliers and there are things you put in place. But you are carrying a lot of things. Am I right? You're doing 1,500 things at the same time. Hiring takes time. You know how disappointing it is when you go through everything and then you hire somebody that just does not fit. So you must always see how to make sure you shoot not to miss. Okay? And with all our challenges, all the problems, even finding people that will accept the salary we'll have, we're going to talk about that. And that's why Love and Stacey are here. Guys, be real. So you can share your true experience so we can all learn together. But remember, there's company feedback going through. So maybe for the deeper feedback, put it in the company. Put it in our company feedback. But no, but I don't want to limit you guys. Please feel very free, right? So you can't make hiring mistakes. You're going to have outliers. You're going to have somebody that during the interview, they were like, what's it called? Incredible Hulk. They'll be like Dr. Bannon. Oh, so sweet, so nice. Then you just say, I don't like the way you did this proposal. Then the person starts to turn green. You say, sorry. Somebody cannot play with you again. The person will just transform, right? We're going to have those outliers, but we're going to know how to do that. So let's explore how you do not miss when you're hiring. The first thing is identifying talent lead. You guys have already spoken about that. The phase of the startup you're in, right? What the role actually needs. But how do you even know the role that is needed, right? We're going to do a background. Most of us, a good portion of us do mobility services. So we created a lovely logo, Urban Motion, Don't clap for us. This is a startup now. In fact, we're raising pre-seed. Not no revenue. It is pre-revenue. But we have a strong customer acquisition strategy and a powerful GT. You founders know what's up. You know what's up. And then when you guys are coming sweet mouth you don't catch us. So Urban Motion is a very early stage startup offering innovative urban solutions. So far, the founders have driven sales themselves. Remember, you're the first salesperson. You've seen high customer retention, product stickiness. So the people that you sell to, they come back, which is great. However, the current founder-led sales model isn't generating enough new leads to support rapid expansion. This is the situation Urban Motion is in now. Some of us are in this situation. Now, there's a lead generation gap. The challenge now is you need to scale the sales process. Remember, one of the things of sales readiness fit is that you have a proven sales process. You want to hire a role focused on generating new leads and expanding the customer base. What usually happens now is that you do not know which role to hire for. There are a couple of options. You can hire a sales development rep. Their focus is on prospecting and generating new leads. Some SDRs now actually add closing. You tell them also they need to close the leads, but they can get support. An account executive, they manage the full sales cycle from prospecting to closing leads. So remember, an SDR, some of them don't know how to close deals. They don't have that skill set. Are you all following me so far? Yeah? And then the third part is business development manager, BDM. I see a lot of startups hiring this as their first salesperson. But see, a BDM, their real role and skill set is establishing strategic partnerships and exploring new markets. These are the ones that wear suit and tie, or they wear really, really cool sneakers with jeans and a lovely t-shirt, and they speak like this. It's like they all came from the abroad. They speak with full, great accents. They know what they're doing. So the question is, looking at Urban Motion, who should they hire? And when you say who, say why.
So the challenge of urban promotion is that they're not genuine. Right. So, and because of that, they're not closing enough. So in that case, what would be mostly efficient for them at that stage is to hire a SDR.
So your vote is SDR?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we need a BDM.
A BDM?
Because the founders have sales, like they've been done in a bit of work in sales. So
Okay.
a BDM would seal the strategic partnerships, explore the markets for them, and the founders themselves can close to talk to the generating leads and managing it. Because based on what you said, they've generated leads and they've been able to do an product market fit. So they just need the BDM to help them with partnerships, enter new markets, then they can do the closing and the market kind of talks.
So your vote, BDM?
The company is at a stage where the founders actually need to exit that sales full cooperations engagement, so that now they have somebody that is going to manage the full sales process from generating leads to closure.
Closing.
Yes, maybe at a couple of times they will come in for some sort of level of support where there are difficult clogs within that value chain for that closure to happen. But I think they need an account executive now. Yeah.
Okay. So we have one each. Any other?
I'm going with account executive too.
Okay,
Because, coming from the background, the founders themselves are going through those cycles.
No, please hold it.
The founders themselves are going through this cycle of generating leads themselves, identifying prospects, generating leads, and of course closing deals. Right now, there's a need for them to move into the next phase, and the next phase is now they really want to focus on the business. Now they need somebody to step into their gap in which that person can easily identify prospects and also go through that the same sales process. So an account executive can easily step into their shoes and do that.
So 2 votes for AE.
Yes, I would vote for AE as well.
Account executive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the reason is clear. Founder-led sales. So it means that for the generating leads, they have it figured out. Just that is not in large proportion. For closing, they have their conversion also figured out. Just that is not in large proportion. I would have gone for number one. But for number one, once they bring in someone that is generating a large amount of leads, that means there is going to be so many work for them in terms of closing it, even if they are going to maybe offer support or something. So if they are expanding at that rate, then obviously, even if they will be available to support, they need people that can close it. So I'll go for A.
So all of you have said great points. When I'm going to go back to this slide, when you have options in a startup, remember what we said, you're trying not to miss. You need to understand what the role is going to do, and what you would place as the weight against the performance of that role. This is a great hiring matrix. I use this in B4B. You would say, what is the criteria that generation? What is the criteria that generation? The second one, as an example, you do this for any role you're doing, even for tech, if you're doing product. Sometimes when we're doing product, we'll now say we want to hire a QA, or we want to go and hire somebody that is doing testing, or want to do somebody that does maybe integrity, or we'll just say that is what we need. No, that's not what you do, because you don't have funds like that. So you're looking for talent. So which role makes the most sense
to solve the problem that you're having? Hey, should I say that?
So which makes sense? What are you thinking on? You need to generate leads. Abi? That is the number one thing. Which of the roles require a longer ramp-up time? Because again, you don't have time. Customer engagement Who is the person that will be able to do a better chance of customer engagement? And then cost efficiency. This is an example. Again, we don't have money to be playing around. So we need somebody that is going to help us generate leads, ramp up quickly, being able to engage with customers, and cost efficiency. So we will score it from 3 to 1. 3 being the one that has the most impact on this area, 2 being medium impact, and then 1 being low impact. This, you can do it on a piece of paper. It doesn't require any tool or payment. So for SDR, lead generation, they are baba in this. This is their correct job. They know how to generate leads at scale. An AE does as well, and a BDM does. I would have even scored this BDM 1, because most times BDMs don't have lead generation skills. Okay? So they may be able to do partnerships with you, for you, but again, depending on your organization. If you're doing B2B, that you would have maybe 4 or 5 customers a year, or you're focusing on 10 customers, you would now weight this BDM higher. Right? But we're talking about urban motion now. Ramp up time, SDRs come prepared. They can start from day 1. Because all they need to do is understand UVP, ICP. It's not a difficult conversation, and then they do cold leads, you review it. From day 1, they're able to start engaging. An AE needs a bit more time, and a BDM as well, because they're going to try and understand how you go to market. They're going to try and understand skill sets, what your customers are saying, and all of that. Customer engagement, SDR is the lowest here. I would actually have scored the SDR 1 here, to be honest. No, 2, not 1, because a lot of times they do know how to engage the customer. They struggle with closing. But AEs and BDMs, fantastic in customer engagement. Okay? And then cost efficiency, SDR is always your best bet. SDRs are the ones that you can say, I'll give you a base salary to cover your data, your this, and then you get a percentage of every deal, maybe 1% or 2%, right? AEs and BDMs are more cost efficient. Can you see how you have made the decision in a better way? So you don't just wake up, for us founders in the room, or you don't just wake up and say, we need a community manager. Oh yeah, let's go and hire a community manager. Well, you haven't listed the 4 reasons why you need a community manager. You may find out that is not a community manager you need. Maybe it's a digital marketer. Maybe it's a social media marketer. So this is what helps you, number 1, making sure you're hiring the right person in the right role for the organization you need. Next thing, job descriptions. I guarantee you, talent reads job descriptions. People that are not talented do not. So you notice what Stacy said. When you said people that don't align with the job, these are the people, forgive me, that they tell them, fake it till you make it. How many of you are faking it till you make it? God forbid. Say God forbid. So these are the people that they will say, just apply. You don't know what God will do. It's a game of numbers. Thank you, Stacy. Apply to 100 places. These are not talent. But because your job description is extremely clear, talent reads job description. There's no job I don't read the job description. So Stacy and I were talking about a role yesterday, and I told her that they had offered me a leadership role there, and I turned it down. She was like, why? I said, no, wait, let's look at this job. That this job, it will stain my white. There's no way they can achieve what they're planning to, because I read the job description. There are many tools, and we'll share it in your workbook. Competency-based analysis. ChatGPT is your friend. But instead of saying create a job description for a community, instead of saying create a job description for an SDR, you say create a job description for an SDR, indicate that they need to generate 100 leads, indicate that they need to do customer engagement and close deals, because you already know what you need the job for. So you are now able to create that job description that will attract talent. All right. And inside what we do, some companies don't do this, but in B4, we put your remuneration right there. And our benefits are live. They're public. Anybody can look at it. Because we don't have the time to be negotiating. No. We don't have that time. So we put it up front. But there's another startup that she doesn't do that. A founder we're working with. She says that it eliminates a lot of talent. But her interview process takes a lot of time because of that. Okay? And then we also make sure that the cultural fit is there. Now, this is how we do cultural fit. In all our JDs in B4B, we write this. Some people say it's too harsh, but we add it. We say don't apply if you don't have passion. Don't apply if you're not ready to build something. Don't apply if you need supervision. If you tolerate bad environment, like this is for us for real. We don't want toxic behavior. God, don't like feedback. It's very important. If you don't like feedback, we give feedback a lot. You dislike teamwork. You are inflexible. You don't have a growth mindset. So we try and make it very, very clear. And we put it, why join us? You make a difference, you earn more, great commissions, reward your hard work, friendly work, grow your career. We're always particular about making sure the work you're doing is helping you add to where you want to go. Okay? So this is why job descriptions are great, because talent reads job descriptions. Of course, we all know where we find people. Do we struggle to find people? Not really. Who struggles to find? Struggle to qualify.
So especially when you go through these public platforms.
Like Indeed?
Like LinkedIn, for example.
LinkedIn.
Like 100 applications. That starts something like start so Steven.
Yeah, so what we do, how do you accept your applications?
So we use public platforms.
No, you do, but how do they apply? Do they apply on LinkedIn?
Yes.
So what we use is we use a Google form. So then somebody just sorts through the form. We look at pre-qualification indicators, like have you worked in a remote environment? Do you have your own laptop? Because we can't afford to buy you Mac. Do you get my life? I don't know how many of you are dishing out Macs for every new employee. It ain't us. So, do you know how to? It ain't us. Unfortunately, soon it will be us, but very soon. You see, so do you understand? So we do some 1, 2, 3, 4 pre-qualification. So if you answer no, we already know you're not moving. You don't even need to look at the resume because most times it's the clicking and the opening and then looking at the profile. So once you know you haven't passed that, we don't bother looking at the resume. Then once we open the resume, there was somebody that applied for the role Savior is in now, and she's a HR expert, my brothers and sisters, for a sales role. So those kind of things. Another thing that helps is communities. Communities are great. So you have communities for product managers, HR managers, salespeople. You can go to the community and know that at least you're getting people, right? So try and make your qualification process more structured so it can save you time. If it means there are 3 qualification questions you use, and once you don't pass it, there's no point for the role. All right? So no other questions around sourcing, right? Okay, so these are some thoughts on interviewing, right? The 2 things for interviewing is you plan before the interview. The first thing for planning is define, Edem mentioned this, OKRs. We use OKRs. I'll show you a sample of our OKRs for B4B. We do everything by our OKRs, objectives and key results. We're not just hiring a human being to come and be smiling at us. Like you said, it took you a few weeks to even know it was a solar company. Onboarding is a thing, but by the time you do this before you interview, you already know what you're looking for. So you develop a scorecard. Our scorecard is in Google Sheets. It's not complicated at all. And we're saying these are the skills the person needs to have. So for example, key skills, you want the person to qualify and you want the person to close. So we want to be able to see how the person researches prospects and then whether the person demonstrates active listening. We want to see how they discover lead qualification, etc. and so forth. Yeah? You need to make sure you are putting all this feedback in a document, because sometimes when you interview somebody, I don't know how many of you go by gut feeling. We don't do gut feeling. When you're hiring as a startup founder, please, if you have a gut feeling, you interview that gut feeling, because you're shooting not to miss. So sometimes they'll be like, man, when he walked into the room, oh my God, he was so amazing. In fact, when she spoke, I was just like, wow, ambulance. Let's not do ambulance behavior when we're hiring, okay? You now say that maybe she communicates well. This is where you bring in behavioral questions, hypothetical questions to now go deep into what is going on. So now you have your scorecard. You know what the good looks like. Another thing with us founders, we tend to hire people just because we don't want to miss talent. Has that happened? You are interviewing for HR manager, somebody comes in, she's showing that she's a great accountant. You now say, let's hire her as a HR manager, she will transition into accounting. Who does that? Nobody in this room. Thank God. Please, let's not do that behavior. It's okay to miss talent because you know you are lean, you're trying to stay as lean as possible. So you know exactly what you need at that time. That's what you're hiring for. Don't get distracted by talent. What you do for that person, you put the person in a talent pipeline. I don't know how many of us have a talent pipeline now. So there's already somebody, there's some numbers B4B will hit. I know who I want to come on as our head of sales, right? I'm already eyeing 2 or 3 people. So you keep in touch with them. It's talent pipeline, right? So they can be seeing a lot of your awesomeness. Reduce your interview process. During the interview, don't be doing 15 interviews, 5 interviews. They're not interviewing to join NASA, please. Yes, let's be frank. There's a way you interview somebody, they too, they're tired. Try and not do more than 4. I actually recommend 3. Sorry?
I've gone through terrible experience like that. I mean, while in paid employment, and even recently too, my wife went through one very funny one. I mean, the subsidiary of one of the US banks. It was a messy. In fact, she was tired. Like when
About 7 interviews.
You're saying 7. There's some companies 16, 12. Yes. Yes.
Boy, it's terrible.
Google does 3 interviews. AWS does 3 interviews. Everybody understands that talent, if you are really talented, you are not looking for a job. Let's be honest now. We hired a intern. She was still in school. She did her internship with us. We hired her. We got her from Indeed. One of the most brilliant, like honestly, she blew us away during her and who she said she was is who she is. And hopefully after school, she plans to come back. We will take her back now. Stacey said she wants her back, right? So big companies, no matter how big, are reducing their interview process because the talent market is so small now that everybody is looking for those superstars. So the superstars know they have options, right? But you see a lot of people now. My nephew was approached by 3 big tech multinationals in America. He's working for a startup. He's getting like 25% what he would have earned in Google and all these companies that were coming for him. But nowadays, talent wants to do actual work. So they're looking for those companies that will give them the work. But don't be horrible bosses at the end. Okay, so you do your check-in interview. Check-in interview is great to check if the person is, forgive me, whether the person is mad, okay? Whether the person is stable. Do you get? This is where you say, oh, hi, just wanted to know, do you have a laptop? All those pre-qualifying questions, this is where you check it. You just check in. For us in B4B, our check-in interview is an email. We don't even call the person, right? So our first step is this step. Because we didn't have the time we'll tell you everything about B4B. If you want, please continue your journey. If you don't want, please, this is the best time to jump off the bus. And then, okay, this is not role related. This is role related, but it's almost like whether the person can do the job. Now, there are many ways you can do this. What we do is we do a task. So for an SDR, we'll say generate 100. Show us how you generate and generate 100 leads for this our product and close 30%. As expected, the person will put it in ChatGPT. It's fine. And then they can present it. We ask them to present it in any form. Present a document, PowerPoint, but they don't need to share it with us. So they feel very comfortable. And during the interview, we ask questions. So they'll say that I'm going to go to Apollo or I'm going to use Clay. And we'll ask a question of, okay, if you find that out, how are you going to define the people you search in Clay? Can you show us? And that's when the person will start to fumble. So this role-related interview, very important. For marketing, they could come and say, we're looking at your data and we're seeing that your customer engagement is 27%. With this strategy, we can move it to 72. Show us how you saw it was 27. The person will now start to fumble. So this is where you go deep. I call it peeling the onion. This is where you peel it well. All those things you say you can do, come and show us in real time how you're doing it. Some people, for role-related interview, what they do is they will now give you an internship. I have to make sure I'm on time because I don't have my watch. Okay. They will give you an internship and they will say, come and do the job for 1 month. Let's see how you do it. You'll be paid a stipend. So you're not hiring or anything. It's like you're going to do the job for 2 weeks. You're going to let's see how you do it. That's something some other people do. Okay? But this part is very important. Then culture interview. This is where you do hypothetical behavioral questions. If your colleague insults you during a call, what will you do? insult me. Am I their mate? You just say you're not doing the job. And we can give you, if you guys don't have some of those questions, we can share it with you. Another thing with hypothetical is sorry, let me just open this laptop. So another thing with hypothetical will say that if you were given this new job to do as an SDR and you find out you're not closing deals in the first month, what would you do? That is behavioral. Okay? And then you now grade their results. So this is our grading scale in B4B. You score 1, poor, 2, fair, 3, 4, 5, excellent. They are all the reasons why you will score this, right? After you finish scoring, you put it inside the sheet. So in this sheet, we'll have the name, the person we're hiring, the role, this rating guide, the person that's hiring. This takes like 2 minutes. But what it means is that when I'm now doing my interview and I'm putting my assessments, I put my notes. So when we're making a hiring decision, and you can see our levels, we do task score, we do task assessment comments, we do final interview, this is the culture fit, comments, and then the decision. Because sometimes when you are interviewing a lot of people, you forget, really. But this scoring helps you to make sure you do this. Now, you have hired, you've done all this great work. You've sourced a great person, you did a great JD, you sourced a great person, you've hired the person, and the person did us like Captain America. The movie now. Only 2 people in the room. How was it? Tell the truth. 1 to 5. Now, you have to know how you're managing their performance so they know exactly why they're not hitting probation. If they are not hitting the job, put them on a performance improvement program. It's a very simple thing. If you are hired to generate 100 leads, you're not generating. Within the probation period, you can see the person can't do it. Sometimes it's, I will not do it, I can't do it, I don't have the capacity. You have to check which one is it. Exit the person immediately. It's not harshness. I say that all the people that I've had to fire from the big companies I've worked for and in the company in B4B, it has always been amicable. I'm still on good terms with them because they can see that they're not meeting the... Do you have a question? Yeah. Expectation? Yes, please.
I have a question, and it's really around culture fit. I mean, whenever we talk about culture fit, the focus is really on employee to the organization. Can it be the other way around?
Yes, it can. Sometimes role fit, culture fit. There was somebody that was in B4B and could not really get into the program. It wasn't that she was a bad it wasn't that she was a bad hire. It's just that the role and the company wasn't good for her. Because we were so fast paced and there's just so much work that needs to be done. It was too much for her. But now she's in another job and she's literally thriving. So that's why as a leader, you have to remove bias, emotion from these kind of things and stop shouting at people's children. They have parents as well, you know? So do you get what I'm saying? So that's why when the person comes in, you set their OKRs. And then once you set it, you track it, how they are doing, okay? And then once you see the person is falling behind, don't wait till the probation period is over. Check in. Is it a personal problem? Some people are going through a lot. Why is the person behaving like this? Once you ascertain that the person, yes, can do the job, you can put them on a performance improvement program. So you can say you have to generate in the next 2 weeks these 100 leads and you must close at least 10%. Make sure it's reasonable. And you check in. After it, you see that the person now says, okay, maybe I didn't understand what my job was supposed to be. You understand? But if the person is not able to do it, you have to exit the person so they can find their amazing place. So don't see it as a bad thing. And that's why I didn't say fire, I said exit. Okay? So how do you create a high-performing culture? We've talked about this extensively. You see this vision and goals. And I keep on referring to Paystack as such a strong culture because they love the company they work for. All of them. People keep talking about how they want to work for that. And it's because the founders have done such a great job of cascading their goals. This is our B4B OKR sheet. We do this at the beginning of every quarter. Everybody has, except Love. I think Love, how many OKRs did you have in Q1? It was a lot. Even Stacy. So we have 4 or 5 objectives per quarter. Everybody has like 2 to 3 OKRs against each objective and we score it. Can you see how simple this sheet is? It's not a heavy thing. If you are doing it, or if you haven't started or you're not doing it, you score 0. If you're doing it or you're stuck, you score 0.5. If you've done it or it has moved because of a change, startups, we're always pivoting, you score 1. At the end of the quarter, we'll look at your score and know whether you fit into, whether you're underperforming, you're overperforming, and you get a bonus accordingly. But it helps center you, and we review this every month. Okay? So I want to ask, who wants to go? Stacey, you want to go? How have OKRs really helped you in being able to deliver work?
Okay, so in some organizations I've worked at that didn't have, it's whatever your boss says you need to do or that needs to be done for this day or for this week that is prioritized. But with OKRs, even when you're getting new assignments or new tasks, you know what's front and center that the team as a whole is trying to achieve, and you're able to prioritize that, right? So it's been very helpful for me because normally I'm kind of very structured, and if you are saying you need to do this, you need to do this, you just know that your OKRs is like the template for that quarter. So it's been helpful for me.
Yeah. And this is how Google grew. It was OKRs. Right? So even sometimes the team holds me accountable to OKRs.
Yeah. When something comes up and we'll be like, is this part of our OKR?
Yeah, so they do that. They hold me accountable to OKRs, right? So we can share this template if you haven't done OKRs before. There's a great book by Google, OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. So as a company, you can set 4 objectives. Everybody knows this is their key result. Now, just one last point on OKRs. So, Love, I wanted to ask whether OKRs helps you work with other people. With other people in the team. Does it help foster engagement when you're trying to hit your OKRs?
Yes, it does. Because sometimes, not similar OKRs, I and another colleague could have collaborative OKRs, which means I need you to get mine done, and you probably need me to get yours done. So it helps.
It really fosters collaboration. So we can talk about that. Yes, please.
For teams that their roles are not quantitative, for example, maybe finance, not sales. At least sales is easier to know, bring in X number.
Yeah. I actually want to show you because there was an OKR. So, for example, the OKR for the objective, if one of your objectives is to create and foster team environment, a great team culture. One of those things is to make sure salaries are paid on time. Another thing is to, when salaries can be delayed, to have that open communication. Another thing is to, maybe you've grown as a business to the point you want to set up a finance system. Do you get what I'm saying? Finance can have that key result. Your key result is to ensure salaries are paid on time and payrolls are sent at the right time. And another key result is to implement a software that will now help us view Another key result is to make sure management accounts are given at so and so time. But they know the reason they're doing that is to make sure the team is happy and is part of the OKRs. That's why for us, in our 5 objectives, every department has at least 1 OKR. Yeah. So even with revenue and sales, finance, make sure invoices are sent within 1 hour, 30 minutes of sales sending communication. So you will find out that the finance person will go to the salesperson and say, look, this is my OKR. I need to make sure I get invoices to you. Where have you been having challenges? Yeah.
Sorry. For teams early stage startups, right? That don't have this sales department and the financial department. It does the founders themselves.
Yes.
How do you bring in dynamism into OKRs? Like in which you are just trying to build things, changing things over time. Maybe just wake up and change things. Like,
that's why we said moved. Because things change. In fact, Love's OKRs, the change in direction, 50% of our OKRs were not valid by the middle of the quarter. Yes, now. But we do monthly OKR check-ins. Every month, we're looking at it to make sure the team stays on track, right? So you can, what are your objectives? Put your objectives. And then what are the key results? So you can see there's a lot of percentages, numbers that help you.
And everything ties
Love has
to the vision, to the overall vision of.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But the objectives is how do we get to the vision? Love, you have something?
The question you asked, the staff, the employees, we set our own key results. So the objectives are given at the beginning of the quarter. We know from the organization, but we set it so it helps us think, what can I do to contribute to this objective? So so a finance person, account person, we say, what can I do to support this objective? And that's how we get our OKR. So if they say something as simple as team culture, I can say, I will recommend a movie for everybody on the team to watch.
Yeah, we have that. We have a 6th OKR. Yeah, that's. I don't know how everybody's doing on that 6th OKR, Shao. So KPIs is key performance indicators. One of our key performance indicators is revenue. That for us at this stage, it's revenue. Customer retention, upsell, cross-sell is not a key KPI for us now. We're trying to get logos, right? So what we'll say is we want to grow our revenue by 25% year over year. That's a key indicator. Now, an objective would now be to onboard 10 new customers valued at, and then the team will now say, how can I help to be able to do that as a key result? I am going to make sure I generate this number of leads. I am going to make sure I set up CRM. I am going to, yeah. So that helps. And then hire and empower a great team. The interviewing in B4B is done by B4B people. And I don't know, Stacey, if you remember one time we interviewed somebody, you said, this person won't do well in B4B, right? Just, it doesn't fit the culture. So for us, we have our 6 values. And this is really also, like we use it when we are talking, growth mindset, balance is big for us. We're not trying to boil the ocean. Though we're always stressed out and tired, we give ourselves, okay, maybe who can speak on balance? Who wants to speak on balance? Do you feel you're balanced?
Okay, so I would focus on balance because I think when I joined B4B, like my first quarter, I was overwhelmed for some reason. I was just, but then Flexi Days came in just because we didn't want people working like all through, not taking breaks, because we kind of enjoy what we do. So sometimes even when you are not supposed to be working, you just maybe see yourself just working. So the Flexi Days was introduced, and it's we have 2 in a month. So you get to take either a Friday or a Monday off so that you get a longer weekend. Do you understand? So either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. And when you're off on that day, like, we don't want to see you anywhere online, whether on the group chat or anything. So it's been a very helpful way for us to even check on each other. Sometimes when we see our colleagues online on a day they're supposed to be off, we're like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? So balance has
Stacey,
been...
I hope you're talking to yourself. Yeah, because you are the worst at Flexi Days. No, love is the worst.
I'm getting better.
No, you're getting better, but love has not gotten better.
Yes.
Yeah, love now works in secret. So, but we see you, love. So yeah, but this is really, really us. But I like the way Stacey phrased it. It didn't happen overnight. So when you're thinking of what to give talent, it's not just money. Flexi Days, we have public holidays in B4B. There's specific days when nobody works. February 14th is one. May 2nd is another. Yes, it's our office is closed. Okay? But that is valuable. It's not always pizza and PS5. Okay? So think of your values. Another set of people that have great values is Amazon. When I worked at Amazon Web Services, they use this every day in their conversation, but it's really who they are. Culture is the personality of your company. It's really who you are. So if you're a hardworking company, don't go and be projecting you are not. So we always tell people there's work here. Yeah, but we try and balance you. But there is work. Get ready to work. Do you want to grow? Do you want to do amazing things? We call ourselves builders because we're always building something. Always building something. So communicate and collaborate openly. So for the weekly meetings, I don't even run the weekly meetings. Somebody in the team does. And we have a schedule for that. I've spoken about 2x2 feedback. Create a culture of feedback. What are the 2 things we can do better? What are the 2 things we're doing well? We do it after every meeting. We're going to do one after this. What could we do well? I like what you said, continuous learning. But make sure the continuous learning is what the team wants, what the person sees as learning. Lead by example, right? Be on time. Don't be canceling meetings, moving meetings. And I wanted to end with this. There's something we do in Build for Balance. We call it Builder Box. So one builder buck is 1,000 naira. Every quarter, everybody gets some money in their wallet. You can tip somebody. You can give somebody 5 builder bucks, which is 5,000 naira. I really like what you did. These are little things you can do that can really foster a lot of gratitude, celebrating wins and all of that. So it helps. So you lead from the cockpit. This is an example I use. Like if you're going through turbulence on a plane, imagine if your pilot leaves the front and comes where you are and starts panicking with you. Hey, what are we going to do? That's what some leaders and founders do. You need to lead from the cockpit. There's turbulence here. Things are not going well. And this is the result of people not leading from the cockpit. We remember horrible bosses, all the comments that people were making. Yeah. So listen, this was the funniest part. There's a guy on TikTok who owns a company where you can complain about your boss anonymously, and he goes to your work and curses them out for you. Can you imagine that being a job, right? Yeah, it's funny, but horrible bosses. Then we now have pros and cons. This is a startup in Nigeria. The pros, close working with the founders. Cons, close working with the founders. One of them is a terrible human. So terrible, my review can't paint the picture. Guess you will find out when you go and work for them. This other one says, horrible boss, Google it. You get paid fairly for their salary. These people are talking. Now, if you create a company where people don't want to work there, you're never going to attract talent. So you can't be. Okay? So some things to get done. Use the matrix always to identify your hiring needs. Always use a matrix. Shoot so you don't miss. Okay? And then go through, set up a hiring system. You can use Google Sheets. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. We are a tiny team, and that's what we use. And then set up a weekly team meeting if you don't have, right? And monthly learning frameworks if you want. But do something that starts building what we call a business cadence. If you have a sales team, there must be a weekly sales meeting. Must. And you must use a tool, whether it's Google Sheets or CRM, RevWit, whichever. And then ask your team for feedback. Encourage it 2x2 framework. The more they do it, the more that they will get used to saying, I think we should. And you train them how to give feedback. Be specific. Don't focus on the person. You can do one small training on that. So hire right. Shoot. Don't miss. There will be outliers. But if you do all of this, your chances of always shooting right will be higher. Empower your team and lead from the front. Don't be a horrible boss. All right, so we're breaking for coffee. We were over by 20 minutes, and I apologize because our other session went off a bit.